Hello, it's your boy ep9 here again, coming at you after watching the two newest episodes that dropped, Identity Crisis and The Point of No Return, Season 3, Bad Batch, Episode 10-11. I'm going to give you the synopsis, my thoughts, and what I think's going to happen next. So, what happened? Well, in Identity Crisis, which is a really bad title to give a Star Wars episode right now, considering all the backlash the Acolyte trailer is getting. There really is no crisis of identity in the entire episode, actually. But we get to find out what Project Necromancer is, and to pretty much no one's surprise, it's connected to Force-sensitive kids and trying to keep track of their M count and basically building it up into something. More than likely, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people's money is on all the Force sensitive the Empires are trying to capture. No, they're not turning them into little Padawans, or they're not doing a 40k. Thankfully to them, no, they're just keeping them in a corner of the galaxy, sample their blood, and just keep an eye on them. Just keep an eye on them. Don't get too connected to them. Don't get too attached to them. And the entire episode is focused on one character I was not expecting this show to give an episode to. The scientist lady. Yes, not Nala Sue, but the scientist lady, kind of her understudy. She essentially takes over what Nala Sue was doing in the little prison that Omega was at, and they really did not need to drag it into an episode. They really did not need to stretch it out into a. They could have easily done what that one episode was in 15 minutes, and then gone into the second episode that dropped recently. The second episode being number 11. Because of a few factors. We find out Necromancer is okay. They've basically been abducting Force-sensitive kids and putting them in a spot and collecting their M count and blood samples. Okay, cool. You can easily explain that in 5 minutes. You could also explain how they gain the kids, because sure enough, we see Cad Bane being used as one of the primary bounty hunters, help collecting kids and stuff like that. Okay, cool. Again, easy little 5-minute scene that you could have done there too. Let's see, what else happens in that episode? Oh, yeah. There is this little moment where the scientist lady tries to starts talking to the 3 alien kids there, which, I kid you not, there's a red alien kid, there's a blue alien kid, there's a green alien kid. And the 4th one that gets captured is a furry. So red, blue, green, furry plus Omega. All right, we got all the categories to make the new Star Wars Power Rangers. Everybody, let's go! I am sorry if that's what they're trying to turn this batch of kids into, which it wouldn't surprise me. And if that's what they're kind of doing, a little mini Force sensitive Avengers in Star Wars, I could see them doing that. So, all the Power Rangers are, all the little mini Power Rangers are in the Tentis, the main little spot Omega was at. And then we get to see episode 11. Now, if you've seen some of the other YouTubes and little bits and pieces on your social medias about Omega being 11, well, yeah, Omega gets recaptured again by the Empire. And it's kind of disappointing, honestly. It's cool that we still are focusing on the main assassin from the previous episode, the one that got his face kicked in and then pushed over a waterfall by Crosshair. There was no mask off moment with that assassin, which was good. I am actually really surprised and impressed that there was no, who are you, scene? How could you do this? How, from Omega or one of the batch to the assassin, then suddenly the helmet pops up and we see Tech. No, he's been completely just helmeted this entire time. So that gives me hope that Tech actually as cool of a character and a voice of reason he was in previous seasons, if they keep him dead, that will actually be good because that will make this show actually have death matter in Star Wars. It's called Star Wars for a reason. People died in wars, okay? Don't be afraid of that, Disney. It's okay. So yeah, how does Omega get captured? You might be asking. Well, so the episode 11 starts out with the Batch pretty much taking what Azaj Ventress said to them last time to heart, and we see them prepping the ship to go away. There's a little bit of a kind of a semi sad sad goodbye between some of the locals and the Batch. But because we barely saw the locals after season 2, there really is no heartstrings kind of getting pulled from me. Call me a cynic. We also get to see the 3 kids that helped Wrecker out a lot in the overgrown Temple of Tentus. Yeah, they actually ended up on planet side for there. So okay, that's some cool continuity for them. So the assassin tracks down the planet. Sure enough. And he radios in the Empire. It's like, yo, I found Omega and the Batch with them. What do? All right, well, we get to see the Imperial Commando pretty much radio him in and say, yeah, no, we'll send us the coordinates, let us know when to arrive, and we'll make a show of things. Little side note on the previous episode on number 10. The Imperial Commando, or one of the main Imperial Commandos that follows the head honcho around, his name was finally dropped. And any Republic Commando fan is not going to like this name. It's Scorch. I'll let you take a moment. All right. Context for those who didn't read the book or played the Republic Commando game. Scorch was kind of the demo guy for the main for the main squad in the books, and he got the name Scorch because he blew up his hands. So he was kind of the main funny guy. I don't think that's where they're pulling the name from. I hope they're not pulling the name from that series, but it wouldn't surprise me because Disney is. Yeah, no, I'm still. I clearly you could tell I have not forgiven them decanonizing the Republic Commando books, along with some other fans. So, now that the Republic Commando fan is back watching this video after he just got done yelling or having a smoke or having a drink, back to the episode 11. So the Empire shows up and they start blowing stuff up in the village. Pretty much standard shock and terror kind of imperial bad guy army tactics you could see. Which since they're trying to lock down a village where it's at, they first blow up all the transports getting out of the way, and then they start going house to house, Gestapo style, just like, hey, where's the kid? All right, get out of here. All right, where's the kid? All right, get out of here. You know, Omega is seeing this. Crosshairs, the Batch is all seeing this, and like, okay, yo, we gotta steal a ship now because the main ship that they have gets blown up pretty dang bad. So, the Bad Batch, the main ship that we've been seeing the Bad Batch in, gone. Yep, and cling on to any of those toys you still have, because now that price just skyrocketed. The ship was cool. So rip the Bad Batch ship. So the Bad Batch tried to steal a ride on out. Well, that doesn't quite work out because when one Lati gunship, the main troop carrier, the big one we saw in episode 2, Hunter almost hijacks it, but the assassin kind of sees one of those ships that are patrolling the Lati ships. It's acting a little bit rough. The pilot comes on in and says, "Hey, I'm about to lose the ship. I'm about to lose the ship. What do?" And the assassin answers by killing the pilot. Ship goes down into the lake, or kind of main water around the island. Hunter's on it. Ship goes into water. Hunter goes into water. And then Hunter tries to swim on back. While Hunter is trying to swim on back... Oh, slight rewind. Wrecker was caught in the blast when the main ship went down. He's not dead, because, they really don't want to kill off characters, apparently, in this season as much as possible. So, to all my fellow Wrecker fans, Wrecker isn't dead. He's just knocked out, okay? We're not going to be crying on his death yet. I'm expecting to this season. But we're not going to be crying on his death yet in this episode. That's a good, okay? Omega is seeing all this stuff go down, and she's finally looking at Crosshair. It's like, look, they're here for me. I'm going to turn myself in, and it's our best shot. It's the one mission we got to save the clones that are left behind on Tantus originally, and the others. Crosshair is obviously kind of like, this is a bad idea. Come on, we can still get out of here. But Omega persists, and kind of... I'm not sure if it's a growing moment for Omega to see the picture and then looking at Crosshair and saying, look at the bigger picture of this mission, which... Omega is right in this case because she's thinking, hey, you know what? I get captured, you throw a tracking device on the ship that's taking me up, we find Tantus, bada bing bada boom, right? Yes, it does not go well. So she doesn't get captured. She volunteers herself to get captured. The assassin and Omega go on the ship, and Crosshair this entire time is trying to line up a shot on the ship that she's going away on to get the tracking shot on. But a bunch of troopers kind of find him. There's a bit of a firefight. He's trying his best to get the troopers off him and still place a shot. He does get the troopers off him, but he misses a shot. And by the time that happens, Hunter finally swims back on shore. So, again, these 2 episodes could have been 1. So that's my first problem with they're dropping 2 episodes instead of 1 episode, alright? So that's more of a critique on Disney than the show, alright? Well, a little bit of the show, because they're kind of stretching it, and I'm not liking how they're stretching it. It feels like it feels like when you sit down for a D&D campaign, the players are feeling the final act of the campaign's coming up, and the GM is like, okay, we got 3 more hours. Let's just stretch this out a little bit more. And the rest of the players are sitting here like, okay, we know what's going to happen. Just let's get to the thing. Let's get to the thing. I am going to throw that at both of these episodes and Disney. Again, this could have been 1 episode where we see the first half of the episode, hey, here's what's been going on Tantus for like maybe the first 15 minutes, and then how long is this episode altogether? 11 minutes for episode 11. So 22 minutes for the rest of it. So that could have easily been done in a 30-minute episode. Disney is stretching this. Disney is stretching this on purpose, and it's not a good stretch. So, if I'm going to give 1 hard critique already on these 2 episodes, is cut to the chase. Stop playing with your food, Disney. Come on. So, us Star Wars fans are kind of having a rough week already, and a rough month, just because of the Backlash to Acolyte. Also, the... mostly Backlash to Acolyte. The news we've been hearing bits and pieces of a possible Rey movie, confirmed Mando movie, but this... Come on. Yeah, it's not... these are kind of annoying episodes. I mean, it was a little expected, but not. I was expecting the Bad Batch to put up more of a fight again in this episode for Omega to not get captured. Like, okay, so Wrecker goes down, and then suddenly Hunter and Crosshair and Omega do a series of guerrilla tactics again, or just guerrilla tactics via trying to get off the island, which it's good to have the bad guys win, but not as easy, if that makes sense. So that's probably that's another critique I have, another against this episode. So, but now comes the next part. What do I think is going to happen? Well, what I think is going to happen next is we're going to have one episode fully dedicated to Omega being on Tantus. We're going to have one episode dedicated to Omega somehow breaking out of Tantus with the other clones. And then the episode after that, we're probably going to have a episode dedicated to kind of a hard, fast flash cut of the Bad Batch getting to Tantus to meet Omega. But by the time they meet Omega, I don't think this is going to happen. But this is a little bit of what I want to happen. What would be kind of sad and tragic, that's what they're trying to go for with this season, because in this episode we hear the Anakin Dark Deeds theme go on as the troopers are going through the village, kicking people out of houses. I could see the Batch reuniting with a dead Omega. If they are suddenly deciding this far into the series and this far into the season to be like, okay, why don't we finally let the Empire actually be smart? Like, brutal smart. If that's what they're going for, I appreciate them giving the Empire teeth again, because this is the darkest time in the timeline. This is the timeline where if people are isekai to Star Wars, this would be like, okay, so, how early is Empire in charge? Oh, this is still the first 3 years. Okay, hey, can I get a shuttle off this universe, please? That's one of those. And that'll be me in that situation. But these two episodes are kind of meh just because of how dragged out they are, which I am kind of annoyed at. And so, one episode on what happens in Tantus next, I'm guessing. An episode that showing Omega either failing an escape attempt or getting out of Tantus, but still planetside trying to get off planet. Another episode where the Bad Batch comes to Omega and either half of them die on it or Omega dies. And then the season finale being just the Empire's looking at the whole setup, be like, okay, just nuke the whole thing, starting from scratch all over. Yes, I'm not expecting a happy ending with this season. Just because, I mean, I don't want a happy ending for the Empire, but there has to be a hard punch. And if they want to nail how bad this is for the galaxy, the cast, and all that. Alright? Or I could just be getting more and more annoyed at Star Wars, and I could just be my saltiness kicking in. So, yeah. Not too impressed with these episodes. There were a few moments I got a giggle here and there, but yeah, no. The Empire now has Omega. And to any bigger YouTubers who are Star Wars, do a better job trying not to spoil what happens in your titles of your videos. Like, goodbye, Omega. That Generation Tech, I love you. I'm going to keep on following you and all that, but just, like, remember, we want people to watch Star Wars. We want people to get excited about Star Wars. That's why I have my thoughts and reactions, not those type of pieces. So, speaking of liking, if you want to help me out, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. There's a little bit of a news update. I'm going to be visiting Sweden. I fly out on Sunday. So I do plan to still keep my recording. I still keep planning on recording stuff in Sweden for Star Wars content and maybe some more stuff depending on what windows I have in Sweden. It's going to be a very busy 3 weeks there. So, that's why next video is probably you're going to see a different background and such. So I figure I'd give everybody that. Yeah, like I said, like, share, subscribe if you enjoy this. Hit the notification bell. If you're curious how my last monologue did, I have it up. I uploaded, I think, last week sometime, where I tried out 2 different voices. If you want to see how well I did that, or how miserable I failed that execution at my acting skills. So, feel free to give that a video view if you're curious on how your boy acts. And until next time, may the force be with you. See you up 9, out.